All right, welcome everybody to another episode of the Bald Avenger Show. You're in for a treat today. And I am Jason Cisneros, also known as the Bald Avenger. I got a hat on today, but it's under there. And I am the tattooed guru, the purveyor of all things common sense, the king of the Misfit Nation, and legend in my own mind, Natalie.
I love it. In your own mind, but there are others too. I think it's not just your own mind.
I think so. Well, I'm super excited about our conversation today, y'all. You know that we cover the subjects here of philanthropy. We talk about business. We talk about politics, where it's comfortable and where it's not comfortable. And we also talk about vitality. And so this is going to be one of the first shows that we talk about vitality. And for everybody that understands my thought process on vitality, and I was speaking to Natalie a little bit about it before the show, is that we talk about vitality from a perspective of Misfit Nation, which welcome to the Misfit Nation, Natalie. These are a bunch of people that have screwed up some way in life.
They're misfits.
Yep, they're misfits, and we basically decided not to blame everybody else. We decided to make it right for the people that we've wronged in our life, and then to move on and to go do great things and use those lessons as power. And I know that resonates deeply with you.
Totally.
Those of you that don't know, I did her show earlier. She's going to put it out sometime in July. I think we had a really good time on your show. Yeah. You did a great job of interviewing, so I'm going to try to up my standard today and see if I can do as good as you did. But from vitality, from a perspective of being able to do life, not necessarily having somebody, not necessarily being walking on stage. Everybody's like, oh, I'm going to go do a fitness competition. And a lot of people are like, I have kids and I have, a wife or a husband or a relationship, and I'm doing my work and I'm doing philanthropy. Like, I'm so busy. But at the end of the day, vitality really boils down to that energy, specifically and strategically, that you put yourself into a mode to be able to optimize wherever you are in the life spectrum. Okay. Whether you're, it's interesting that you and I are the same age, and I guarantee you look younger than I do, but we're the same age. And that's the topic of your book. And I want everybody, we're going to talk about it at the end. I want to promo it as well, but it's called Aging in Reverse.
Just a subtle plug right there. Yeah.
Aging in Reverse, which is a fascinating subject to me on the anti-aging side, because I work with some very specialty doctors in the world of reversing aging, because I told them all, before I hire you, before you become my concierge doc, here's my outcome. I want to become a demigod. Not big G.
Okay.
I don't want any of that kind of trouble, but demigod, right? I want to optimize where I am. So the other thing that I love about you, and then I'm going to let you introduce yourself and give some people some more information. The other thing I love about you is that you are, you're not in that box of being a fitness person, right? Because obviously what you do is a lot of times 5-10% of the entire scenario, right? It comes down to a lot of other perspectives, and you're really a mindset expert that happens to help people in that area of vitality and building up their energy. So this is going to be a great conversation. Tell the people anything that I missed about you.
Well, geez, where do I start? Okay, let's see. Well, when people ask me what I do for a living, I always say I kill fat. And they assume that's the fat on their body, which, yes, I absolutely can help kill that. I spent years helping to kill that, and I'm great at killing that. But it's more importantly what I call false assumed truths, the FAT. And those are those beliefs that we have told ourselves that have held us back from achieving results in life. And that shows up in a lot of different ways. It shows up with our health, with our fitness, with our energy. It shows up with our careers, with our relationships, with our finances. It's this belief system that holds us back from greater things. And it's all called false assumed truths. And what's crazy is that when I started in this journey with fitness, nutrition, weight loss, I didn't even realize how critical the mindset was. I knew I was teaching it. I knew that I was experiencing that with clients, but it wasn't until I really took a step back and looked at all the transformations that I realized the commonality was that mindset piece, that belief that it was possible.
Right. So it's interesting because you think about, remember, I mean, I don't know, I know you're not this old, but remember back in the day where they used to call people fatheads? right?
Of course. Yeah.
You just call them fatheads. Like, you're a fathead. Right? So it's not just about losing the fat on your body. It's about losing that fat on your brain that is this in that position in the first place. And it's so intrinsically tied together. So if you're going to talk to people, let's say that I'm going to come on and I'm going to be a client of yours, for instance. Okay. And what's one of the first pieces of conversation that we're going to have about my journey with you?
Yeah. So the first thing I'm going to want to know is if you've actually decided, because the number one step in transformation, and again, fat loss or financial, business, anything, is a decision. It's a firm decision. I've decided this is happening. I've decided I'm going to get healthy. I've decided I'm going to lose the weight. I've decided I'm going to create income, whatever it is. It's a firm decision. What I'm not interested in is people that haven't decided. I'm not interested in that conversation of, well, I've tried everything, but nothing works. Because I'm not going to do anything to you. So the number one first step is, does somebody have a true decision and conviction that they're ready to do this? And what's interesting that follows up with that question is, a lot of times, especially in my higher end coaching and my VIP weekends, people fill out an application, and I always ask, what's your commitment level? And they'll say, I'm a 10 out of 10 committed. And then the next question, are you willing to do anything? It's like, no. So that's not necessarily, I'm a 10 out of 10 committed. So I'm always looking for, what's the sense of decision and commitment and ownership in that? That's the first thing I'm going to look at.
Okay. So let me ask a deeper question in that, because we talk about this a lot, with the Misfit Nation, about the idea that you've got to know your destination.
Okay.
Right. And when you talk to clients and you're bringing people in, or with your large experience in this area, do you find that people they don't get crystal clear about what that outcome is?
Always. Yes. Very common. People want to share what they've been through. And I get that. Everyone wants to be heard. They want me to know, they want others to know their experience, what's happened to them, where they've been, what they've been. And there is a point with that. But the problem is, when we stay stuck in that and validating that, there's no room for growth. So there's we get to deal with what's happened and where you've been. All of that has made up who you are, but I don't choose to stay there with you. I'm ready to work on vision and purpose and where we're moving towards. So the example I give, if you and I were to get in a car right now and we were both to say, okay, let's just go somewhere, and we're in a different car, where are we going to end up? Like, we're going to end up all different places. It depends on how much gas is in your car, how much time you have, where you feel like, what your friends are doing. There's a lot of variables. So who knows where we're going to end up? That's not a very smart way to get in a car and make a plan, right? But that's what we do with our lives. So many times we're like, oh, I'll just try it on and see. The better way would be like, oh, hey, you and I, we're going to go to New York City and we're going to do this. And we're real clear. Now we get in a car, we're both going to end up there. We may take different routes. You might get there different ways. You might drive to the train station. I might drive to the airport. We're still going to get there because we're clear on the vision. So I want to get people very clear on the vision of where they want to go, and get really clear on why they want it, which is even more important.
That's the key right there, is why. Why are you going to do it? And so many people, whether it's your money, whether it's your relationship, whether it's your fitness, whether it's your whatever, your relationship with your kids, any of that stuff, it's why are you going to do it? Right.
Yeah.
And so when you dig in and you're talking to clients and whatnot, what do you find is the biggest why? Or is it completely disparate compared, is it so individual, or are there patterns that have shown themselves?
Yeah, there's definitely patterns. However, people believe their why is something, and it's usually not. So I dig deeper than a why. I call it a driving core motivator. So I help people figure out what their driving core motivator is, because let's just take weight loss, because that's an obvious thing that people will come to me for. They'll say, I want to lose weight. And I'll say, why? They'll say, well, I want to be a size this. Okay. Now, if we just stop there, then that's a goal. However, what happens when your friends are meeting out for drinks, or you're tired, or you don't feel like it, or it's snowing out, or whatever? Like, all of a sudden feelings come up and we're not really attached to our why anymore.
Right.
So we go deeper. So it's like, okay, well, why do you want to be that size? Well, every morning when I get up, I don't want to get dressed. Okay. Why? Well, when I go in my closet, it's depressing. Why? Well, because nothing fits right and I feel bad about myself. Okay. And what happens when that happens? Well, then I'm not confident and I end up wearing something I don't really want to wear and I feel like I'm in hiding. Okay. And then what happens? Well, then I'm isolated and I'm judging other people and I'm really in my own head and I'm insecure. And now I'm not showing up my best at work because I'm feeling not good about myself. Okay. And then what happens? Well, now I'm really stuck in my head and I'm not socializing and I'm not connecting with people. Okay. And then what happens? Well, then I'm not really making deep connections or friends and I'm lonely. Oh, okay. See, now we're getting somewhere. So maybe your why is that you want to be more connected and not lonely. Or maybe your why is, you want to be more confident. But it's getting to that. That's that driving core motivator. When we can truly get to that piece, that's when change happens.
Okay. So I want to talk about that just a minute because it's so powerful. And I want everybody listening or whatever platform you happen to be if you're watching this or if you're listening to it, I want you to stop and think about how many times you skipped past what Natalie just said. Right? Because it's the thing, it's the spot. This is where you got to go for any change that you're going to do in your life. Yes. And it's so powerful. Listen to that. And you heard what she did. She kept digging. She kept digging. And you've got to do that for yourself. If you're watching this, maybe, go back and watch this particular portion of it and say, okay, I'm going to stop my life for just a minute. And I'm going to ask myself, I'm going to keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. And it's when you get to that moment where you're like, holy shit, yeah, this is why I've wanted to be fit. This is why I've wanted to make extra money. And it completely colors things differently, right?
And this happens with, it's not just health and fitness. You could do this every area of your life. I've done this with myself in business and making money. It's like, there was a time where I would just chase and chase and chase and chase. And it was like, but why? When I really looked at the why, I shifted how I was going about that because it wasn't, what I was chasing wasn't going to result in my deep why, So it's really important to do that in all areas of your life.
Absolutely. And if you don't do that, so I would imagine that your percentage of people who stick with your program for long enough, or the people that are brave enough to go past their bullshit.
Yeah. So no one comes to me for a mindset change. I'll tell you that right now. Like they're never like, hey, I found you because I want to change my mindset. Or that's not what happens. People come to me because they either want to lose weight, like they want to, they're not happy. They're like, I'm not happy. I just want to be happy. I want to lose weight. I want to feel and look better. Or they're like, I want to get motivated. Those are kind of like where they're drawn to me. But I've never had anyone finish my programs and not say, wow, I totally changed my mindset and that did everything. Like that's what people say after doing my programs, but they don't, it's not like I send out a marketing message like, hey, come change your mindset with me.
It's so prevalent. It's so prevalent. Yeah. So give us a couple of stories. Like what are the ones that stick out? And you don't, obviously for privacy's sake, you don't have to mention them.
Gosh, I have so many. Let me see. I'm just going to grab this down here because I think I actually have some pictures I can show you.
Yes. Oh, pictures before and afters. I love before and afters.
Let's see. Okay.
So give me some dramatics and let's see the physical side first. And then I want you to tell a little bit about their journey.
Okay. So, I'm going to show you two of my favorites. Okay. This was Nicole. Okay. That's when I met Nicole.
Nicole, beautiful lady.
Nicole, beautiful, not happy with her body, not confident, super successful in business, but really in hiding, not feeling confident, just feeling older than her years, feeling not confident, feeling not productive at work anymore, wanting to be in hiding, feeling alone and isolated, really not wanting to look in the mirror, not wanting to dress stylish, losing her confidence. Okay. Met her. I want to be thin. that was the goal. I just want to be thin. We had to get to the why. We had to get to the vision. She sat there with me and we created a vision. And in fact, I remember specifically where we were in that moment. We stood on top of a hill looking out because I'm all about senses, like where you're smelling, what you're seeing, who you're with, all of that. And she said, I want to be in a tiny little polka dot bikini, feeling good. I want to get a fitted red dress. And she described it like it had happened. Like, this is who I'm going to become. Okay. This is her now.
Wow. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah. Now, yes. Did she change her diet? Yes. Did she change her workouts? Yes. But that's not the biggest shift. The shift was that change. This Nicole, people would have said, this one, people would have said, oh, it's her genetics. She's big boned. It's her hereditary. That's just the way that it is. Right. Accept it. This one, guess what people say? This is her genetics.
Right. That's your genetics. What I find fascinating, I want you to keep that picture handy.
Yeah.
Because what I find fascinating about that is we talk a lot about the idea that people's realities are dealing with other people's facade, especially in social media. Okay. So if I saw her picture, her before picture, there's a giant smile on her face.
Yeah.
And when she comes to you, that's her facade. Like everybody's like, oh my gosh, she's successful. She's beautiful. She's big boned, whatever. But she looks super happy. And what's going on the inside is something completely opposite of that.
Totally
Opposite of that. So you're really in the transformation business, and it's not, again, physical is part of it, because physical is tied to our mental and how we're representing on the outside most often. And let me ask you if that's true, because this has been my experience. And I'm not a fitness guru by any means, but I know that when I was out of shape, it was directly tied to, to my mindset of where I was in my life. And so go ahead.
Yeah. Let me show you something. This was me. That was me when I just had my daughter. Now, yes, I just had a baby in this picture. But I mean, I want you to see, I'm 5'2". I mean, and I was 60 pounds. Yeah. I was 60 pounds heavier than I am now in this picture. Okay. My daughter weighed 6 pounds. So I was not pregnancy weight. Like, whoever's listening, if you're offended by this, like, oh, she's pregnant. My daughter did not weigh 55 pounds. Like she weighs 6,
People in my crew don't get offended, because they don't spend any time there. But
somebody listening to be like, well, you're pregnant. Yes, I was pregnant, but I also gained 60 pounds on McDonald's and I wasn't working out. Okay. So when she came out, I asked the doctor, does the placenta weigh 54 pounds? Cause I was like, I don't know what is all this. Anyways, this was not who I was. And I felt, and I had a lot of reasons. Oh, I just had a daughter. I just had a baby, my hormones, blah, 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 all that. I wasn't confident. I was in hiding. I was miserable feeling like that. And it took a lot of work, but I got back to where I was, and better and way better. And, it's a mindset shift too. Here's another one. I'll show you Terry. When I met Terry, this was her, same story.
Yep.
Terry was not as able to, she's smiling here, but it wasn't like Nicole. Like, people knew she was not happy. She was hiding behind the camera. She was like, didn't want her picture taken, didn't want to look in the mirror, didn't have passion. I mean, this is her now.
Wow. Look at that. Look at that. Like the confidence level.
Yeah.
You can just see it, right? That's amazing.
Countless stories like that. And it's the same story over and over again. Now, some people come to me and they find maybe it's not really weight loss they're after. Like, maybe they come to me thinking that's what's going to make them happy. And they really dive deep and they're like, you know what? No, I don't need to be a size 6 or a 4. Like, I'm happy. I just want to be healthier and more energetic and focused, and just find a calling. Or, it doesn't always end up having to be that we're going to get super tiny. That's not always the end result.
Right. So how much of people's bullshit do you put up with?
None.
I can tell. I wanted to get it out because it doesn't seem like you're the type of person that's going to play their poor me game.
No. So my slogan is excuses or solutions, you decide. And I say that not to be mean. Like, look, my podcast is all about people that were in horrendous situations. I have compassion. I get it.
Yeah.
I totally get it. However, me saying, you're right, that sucks. How does that help support you in having a bigger life?
Makes you weaker.
Yes.
Because that's what everybody else has been giving them.
So I won't do it. So it's, I hear you. What are we going to do about it?
Right.
Because the second your coach or the person helping you gives up on you is the second you're going to give up on yourself. And by me saying, you're right, that sucks. Like, people give me paragraphs, days of like everything wrong with them. I choose not to look at that, because I'm seeing people in their greatness. I'm seeing what's possible for them. I'm seeing the potential. I'm seeing them overcoming this. I'm seeing them be that small percent that overcame it. So by me saying, you're right, that sucks, I am doing a disservice for you.
It's almost like you don't believe in them and they didn't believe in themselves in the first place, right? Yes. You're trying to inject that. I find that what you just said really, really cool, because, my business is obviously one facet of it. I've got a private equity business, and then we've got a consulting firm that was built out of the shit that I actually learned, right? It wasn't a reading a book. It was going bankrupt that I learned all of the lessons that I now teach other businesses. And one of the things that is one of the biggest challenges for me, and I see it in your eyes, actually, that it's that same thing where I know where your damn business can be. I know where your business can be. So you can sit here and roil around in all of that bullshit. It's not that you're a stupid person.
No.
It's not that you're broken. It's not that you don't have that. It's just that you haven't been given the proper sequencing.
Totally.
And you see it so clearly for them that you're just like, look, stop with the bullshit excuses.
Yes. Right? And Jason, I want that for me, to be honest with you, because I have my own victim stories. I like, people think I don't. Of course I have my victim stories. I've had it in business and relationships and finances and everything. But I'll tell you, I don't want coaches or people in my life that validate it. I don't. Like, that doesn't help me.
It doesn't help at all. And I just want that to sink in just for a little bit for the audience, that when somebody's validating you, when somebody is taking your excuses, when they're saying, it's okay if you go to McDonald's, it's fine. You deserve it. right?
Yeah.
You deserve it. And I have a friend of mine who's super fit. And he always, when somebody says cheat day, he goes, who are you cheating? Right. And that's always stuck with me. It's like, I deserve a cheat day. Well, who are you cheating? Right.
So he's funny too. I will also want to argue with people. Like I'll tell you, my brother, for instance, he's just naturally like a very fit person. Like he looks very fit. He is not a healthy eater by any means. Like but he's not overweight. He's fit. He works out. He's great. And he'll like sometimes poke at me and be like, well, what are you going to say about that? And I'm like, I'm not going to say anything about it, because if that's working for you, go for it. I'm not there to try to change somebody. But if you're coming to me saying, this is not working in my life, I'm not happy, I'm miserable, this is what's going on, then I am going to poke and let's find what's going to work. But if you're telling, like, I'm not going to argue with somebody if they're like, I do this and this is what works for me. Good. You don't need me.
You don't need me. Right.
I'm not there to argue.
It's interesting because I had a conversation with Tony Robbins one day, and he said, Jason, he goes, you got to stop going into the damn dark and trying to drag people out that are in there. You got to stand at the door and guide the ones through that are looking for the light. Right. Yeah. And it's fascinating. It just the parallels between what you do and what I do are very, very similar.
Love it.
Which is so super cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Because,
of course.
you're an expert in this field. One question from my favorite warrior, Cleo DeLoner. Amazing story, by the way. Really great episode of the Bald Avenger. Somebody that's been through whatever stories you've heard.
Okay.
These are even better. I do the quotation marks.
Okay.
She's asking, I'd like to know how someone who takes insulin can possibly lose weight. I did CrossFit for 14 months, 3 times a week, and lost nothing and changed diet. So
yeah, great question. So I'm assuming, I don't know if she's a type 1 or a type 2 diabetic and what she's referring to there. So either, then they're actually very different things. So assuming she's a type 2, so I'm gonna go with that, because typically there's a trend with the type 2 and the overweight. But correct me if she can comment in if she's type 1. But typically with type 2, it's going to be very food related. So it's not about just the workout. So it's looking at how do we regulate what we're eating so we don't need as much insulin. That's going to be first and foremost. So when people follow my programs, yes, there is a mindset piece first. You've got to decide that it's possible and stop looking for evidence that it's not. But then we need to really dive in and look at your diet. So with a type 2 diabetic, especially, we're going to look at really unprocessing your diet, taking out starchy carbs. That doesn't mean taking out carbs. It means taking out starchy carbs. So we're reducing the amount of food that's turning into sugar in your body so you can take less insulin. So you can take less insulin. And that's the start of that. Now, that's a very quick answer to a very long question.
She confirmed it was type 2, and she takes 3 different types of insulin. Okay.
So the first thing is a mindset shift to stop looking for evidence that people that take insulin are overweight, because that's a rabbit hole that you're going to just keep. That's that false assumed truth I'm talking about. So find evidence of the opposite. And then let's look at changing your diet, like really changing it, taking that on, that you're going to unprocess, eat a natural food diet, remove the starchy carbs and the sugars and the processed foods. Make your carbs come from vegetables, for instance, some low glycemic fruits, balance with proteins and fats. There's a whole process to that. And then we can tweak, and then through a doctor's help, because I'm not a doctor, through your doctor's help, lower the amount of insulin you're taking. Where insulin plays a role with fat loss, by the way, when your body is naturally making insulin, not diabetics, naturally, when you're secreting insulin, you are not burning fat. So somebody that's not diabetic, we'd have a little bit of a different story. We wouldn't want them eating as frequently, a lot of things there to manipulate that. But for a type 2 diabetic, we're going to look at changing your diet.
Got it. Love that. Very valuable. Very valuable. So let's talk a little bit about the diets. Okay. The diets that are out there, and you've got keto, and you've got, we could just go down the list.
Of course.
And so what I think I'm hearing you say, correct me if I'm wrong, is that you've got to figure out how you're, like, if you've got diabetes, type 1, type 2, is there a large difference between how you should approach your diet, or no? Got it.
So I'm going to really simplify this for people. So first and foremost, all diets work if that's what you take on and believe is going to work. Like if you take on keto, Weight Watch, whatever, all of it, when you decide it's what you're taking on and you do it, it's going to work. Okay. And whether that works long-term, whether it's working in your lifestyle, that's a whole different story. But what I teach, and this is what works, this is step 1. Now, most people, if you want to challenge me on this, what I'm going to ask you is, where are you in the process? Because if you've got 20 plus pounds to lose, you're in step one. We don't need to fine tune right now. 20 pounds, 100 pounds, we're in step one. Step one is we're going to unprocess your diet. That means eating natural, real foods that once grew. Real foods. So meats, lean meats, nuts, seeds, fruits, vegetables, things in their simplest form that once grew. Most weight loss, fat loss, health problems can be changed, reversed, fixed by unprocessing your diet. That's step one.
Makes sense.
Now, when we get into like, we're in the like lower the 20 pounds. Okay. Now we're getting into the nitpicky. I want my abs to come out. I want to see my arms. I want whatever. That's when I'm going to say, let's get creative here. Let's do some different things. Okay. Let's up the intensity of your workouts. But most people are in step one and they're trying to like look at step like 100. Like they're like literally trying to go to this, how do I be a bodybuilder? And like, we're still at like, let's just unprocess your diet. So we're going to start with that.
And there's so many, that's a domino decision, right? That's a domino decision. When you make that decision, there's a lot of things that improve.
Yes.
Right. There's a lot of things. So let's switch from that, unprocessing your diet. Okay. And then really, it's kind of like anything, any sport, if you're in business, or whatever you're trying to do, you get those basics down. And then when you're ready to take your game to the next level, that's when they need somebody like you for where they want to go.
So my first book was called Unprocessed Your Diet, 7-Day Jumpstart, Unprocessed Your Diet. And I taught exactly that. Like, let's talk about what's a natural real food. How do you eat? How do you combine food so it tastes great and you're not feeling deprivation? But then like, there's a whole nother level. So like in my book now, Aging in Reverse, I'm looking at the body that's 40 or 50 years old. And like when we've got inflammation or injuries or problems. So now I'm going to take it up a notch and we're going to remove foods that cause inflammation. And we're going to add in foods that help combat that. So that's when I take things up a notch. And this is, again, not for everybody right away, but this is how I eat. I take away dairy. I take away grains. I take away beans and legumes. And I eat a very unprocessed natural food diet with a lot of vegetables and fruit, a lot of plant-based foods to help get those phytonutrients in, help combat aging, help counter inflammation, help our skin, our gut health, all of that.
Okay. So when you get it down into the unprocessed foods, are you talking eating them in raw? Or are you talking about steaming them? Or
there's different stages. There's also different stages. So like, I'm not necessarily a raw food, there's benefits to that. Sure. But no, not necessarily, but so like I might pick up a box of crackers, for instance. Now that's a processed food, but if I can define the ingredients in the crackers and it's made from seeds, almond flour, water, I'm going to pick it up. It's a mostly unprocessed food to me. I can pronounce the ingredients in there, but there's a difference between having Cheez-Its and grain-free crackers, like there's a difference. So it's starting to get really in touch with what are you eating? What is the ingredients on the label? Is it helping your body or is it hurting it?
Got it. All right. So let's go from that to reversing aging. Something I'm very passionate about.
Yeah.
Okay? Very passionate. How do you define, let's start there. How do you define the aging process? Okay.
So you're going to like my answer here, because it's different than what you're probably expecting. So the bad news, like, okay, so I'm 47 years old. I can't become 37. That doesn't happen. We're not going to like physically, like literally become 37, nor do I want to again. However, when you look at a child, look at a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old child, many of you listening or watching have kids or see kids. They have confidence. They have a belief system that anything is possible. They don't have any doubt that they can achieve anything they want. They're very present. They're very in the moment. They're not distracted. They're very, they have no awareness of time or negativity or things that can go wrong. And in fact, they're like allergic to the word no. They hear that they can't do something and they have a tantrum, right?
Right.
Okay. Somehow along the way, we lose this. We grow up and we get told no. We get told things are not possible. We get told that because of this, we can't do that. We start losing our belief system around things. So we start believing it's too late for me. I'm too old. It's supposed to happen this way. It's too late to have a new job. It's not possible to lose weight. My aunts, my uncles, all of them have this. So my first step in Aging in Reverse is taking back on that childhood wonder and starting to literally think like somebody a lot younger than us.
I love that. And I want everybody that that I may date in the future to hear that when I'm not paying attention to time, it's because I took your advice.
Yeah. Yeah. But think about when you're like in flow or really having fun. Like
All the time, Natalie.
Right. It's a kid. That's a kid. So step one in aging reverse is that. And then the physical things that follow. So that's first and foremost, we have to believe it's possible. It's then there's a lot of mindset stuff in here too. But it's really like getting really clear that you're not going to validate excuses around it. So like, you're not going to text your friends and say, oh, getting old sucks.
Right.
And they go, you're right. It does. Like I have friends of all ages. But I would say my favorite friends lately are like the ones in their 30s or their 20s, because they don't have that conversation. Some of my friends in their 40s and 50s, it's like, really? Like, no, like, I don't want to be validated on that. So it's like, it's really becoming ageless around that. Now, yes, are there things that physically change on our bodies as we get older? Yes, of course. Our skin changes, all of that. But can we slow that down? Yes. Can we actually reverse some of that? Yes. But you've got to really take on your diet and your health and your workouts and your hydration to a whole nother level. You got to get serious about that.
Yeah, it's funny because I was having this exact conversation with Cleo, and I was telling her the timing and the supplements and the water intake and the sleep and the measuring of all of this stuff when it comes to my personal health. Yeah. And she's like, you're a freak. And I go, I know I'm a freak, because, you know, at the end of the day, what I want to do is I want to be able to do this with you. And because people don't look, if you're looking to influence or ease suffering, which is, you are doing that, right? Because I look at it from the philanthropic side of the stuff that I do as far as easing suffering, but your health and your mindset and everything, that is an individual experience that you're having that is coloring everything else that you do.
Totally.
I can't do that without this level of energy and intensity and clarity of focus to be able to put together cogent conversations like the one that we're having.
Yes.
That are different from somebody selling shit. Right.
Yes.
And low level conversations. This is a higher level one. Go ahead.
Yes. And my vision is really for there to be no, like, there's such a separation between the 20s and the 30s and the 40s and the 50s. Like, there shouldn't be, that all should be blended. There should be no, like, you should be able to start a business, create a job, start a new relationship, do whatever you want, no matter what age you are. It doesn't matter. There shouldn't be a conversation around you're 40, it's too late. You're 50, it's too late. You are not too old and it is not too late. But if you keep looking for evidence that you are, you will be.
Right. And there's always the evidence to the opposite.
Yes.
You can find somebody, the Kentucky Fried Chicken, that guy, you know, that was like 962 years old when he started his business.
962. Yeah.
So
totally.
There's always evidence for you to where somebody got through and is thriving with the particular challenge that you have. I think that's what you're saying, right?
Totally. So you have the choice to make it's always a choice and a decision. Now, I'm not talking like physical appearance, like a lot of women, whatever they want to do cosmetically. I'm not talking about that. I don't care. That's like, some people love that. Some people don't, whatever. That's an individual preference. I'm talking about how you feel, your focus, your energy, the pain levels, your vision, your passion, like all of that should still be very strong.
I love that. It's such a clear, simple message. And really what people are looking for, I think, when you're getting a coach or when you're getting a consultant or when you're getting help of any kind, is find somebody that is displaying the life that you want to live.
Yes.
Right? And if somebody's watching you and they're listening to you and how clear you are and how concise you are, they go, look, that's what I want. You just said you're 47 years old. I'm 47 years old. Like we're about to be 50. Like to hear myself even say that, right? Yeah. And my energy levels are higher than when I was in my 20s. I'm telling you, my clarity.
I find myself literally forgetting. Like sometimes I think that it's like 30s. I forget how old I am. Like I literally forget. And then it's like, but wait, like there's such a blend. Like 37 was yesterday. So it doesn't. I don't have any. I just started my entire career in my late 30s. That I'm doing now. So it's like, I can't even wait to see what I build in my 40s, 50s, 60s and beyond. Love that. Well, you're adding a lot of value today. So thank you for that. Misfit Nation, I know, thanks you for it. But let's talk, tell us, if this was the only time somebody ever got to hear you, Yeah.
Ever they listen to you, they're like, this is the only chance I've got to change my life with Natalie Jill. What would you tell them? What are top 3 things?
That you have the power to change and do anything by changing 2 things. And that's your thoughts and your actions. So at any given time in your life, you're feeling down about your health, your weight, your financial situation, your business, your relationships, anything. You can literally create an entire different person for yourself by changing your thoughts and your actions. And that's a decision.
Love that. Love that. And one of the things that I've got Lori here made a comment, try being about 60, right? And this is one of those things. I've got a friend of mine who is about 64 now. And it's just fine. What evidence are you looking for, right?
Yeah.
Are there 60-year-olds that are embodying high levels of energy and enjoying the hell out of their life? And, are there, then yes, then what are they doing, right? That's what we want to model.
I can't tell you how many times people have said to me, wait till you're this, wait till you're that. I'm like, wait till it. Cause I'm not going to look for that evidence. So that's an example, by the way, when people keep saying that, well, wait till this happens or wait till that happens. They're living in that false assumed truth. And that's a choice.
Love that. My grandmother, she died a couple years ago and she was about 90. She was 96, it was right after her 96th birthday. Yeah. And when she was 93, she was still cutting wood. I got her, long story behind it, but I moved her in with my mom, and she still was splitting wood and carrying it in the house at 93 and 94 years old. And the only reason she left, I'm fully convinced of this, Natalie, the only reason that she left was because she was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
It wasn't because she had to go. It was just, I'm done. I want to go see grandpa. Right. Yeah. That was her mindset. And so I've had that really great example of what vitality looks like into your 90s. Right?
No, and here's the other thing, Jason, none of us know how long we'll be here. Like there's things that we can't control. There's a lot of stuff that we can't control. So the time that we are here, why not choose to take on being your best self? Like why give up so soon?
It's really interesting. Same thing, what if you don't have the money that you want to make? Well, why not spend today like figuring out a new skill set because tomorrow you could get there.
Yeah. You just never know.
Short term. Do you find this in your industry that people think so short term? It's like, it's that snapshot on Instagram. It's, contorting yourself, in the right Instagram picture to make yourself feel better about how you act rather than being, really happy about the way that you look. Is it really short-sighted in your industry? It seems to be going that way.
Yeah, I don't know, because I'm so interested in deep connections now. Like I'm not interested in that really. Like yes, I use social media. Of course, that's how I reach a lot of people, but I'm really interested in connecting with people and teaching and meeting them there. I'm not interested in scrolling and seeing what else is out there. Like that's never been my thing. So I'm about learning, I'm about connecting, I'm about helping to empower people. And I have a really strong stance on not arguing with people. I mean, I think about even this morning, it was actually funny. I made a post that I felt strongly about educating a lot of people. And this happens every now and then. Somebody that has credentials and something else that doesn't agree, they'll like send me a message with like all their research disputing whatever. It's like, it doesn't even faze me. I'm like, I'm not going to go, I don't care. Like it doesn't matter. I'm teaching what I know and what I believe and what I'm connecting with people about. People can do what they want on their platform. It's not about like winning a battle with somebody or arguing with them or making them wrong or me right. It's just it's a non-issue to me. I think there's enough room for everybody out there. And I hope everybody out there is working on being their best them and taking their knowledge and their service attitude and teaching others.
Yeah. Comparison is the root of all evil in my mind. When you're comparing yourself, like that goes back to the facade, right? Yeah. You're comparing your reality to somebody else's facade, and there's nothing but bad feelings left in that, because you don't know those people that are, I rail against it constantly, with the online guru space, where it's like they're standing in front of helicopters and I know their bank account. Yeah. I know they're not somebody you want to listen to. Right. So that's really great. I think that paying attention to yourself, the only person that we can influence at the end of the day is the person that's staring us in the mirror. And if you're going to be here anyway, you might as well be improving feeling better, thinking better, developing better relationships, having better conversations. That was one of the inspirations for this show, is to have these kind of conversations with people that around the world. I'm not constrained like we used to be in the old days to our geographic location and to the family members and just kind of going from there. We can reach out. You're halfway across the world from me and I'm halfway across the world from you. And we can have this kind of conversation in front of everybody else that can benefit.
Yes.
Right.
And I love that.
And that's where Misfit Nation, that's why we bond together, is because no matter where we are, we're all after the same thing. And that's for us to optimize who we are and to lift up those other people that are on that same path with us. So you fit perfectly.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So what else? What else you got? What else on that? You only got, this is the only show they're ever going to watch. What else? You got?
So your thoughts and your actions, and then be accountable. Stop blaming everybody else. It's nobody else's fault.
I love hearing that. It is. It's nobody else's fault. You got to be accountable, which means that you got to be able to measure.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm sure that that's a big piece of what you do. So what outside of this world, in the philanthropic world, in the charitable world, and this easing suffering world, what's your big draw? What's your passion?
Gosh. I don't have like one cause or one thing that I work on. That's one of my goals this year, is to kind of get clear on what's the one thing. But I love being involved in anything. So like, I'm that person that when all my friends, anytime they're raising money for anything, they always go to me because they know I'm going to do. I'm the person that's like, yes, I'm support. One of my favorite things I did in the last few years is I went to Nicaragua and I helped build houses for people that were literally living on dirt. They had nothing, literally had nothing. And I remember when I did that, I had people ask, well, why not help people in the United States? Well, I do help people in the United States. However, there's literally no opportunity sometimes in places like Nicaragua or Africa or India. Like there's literally no opportunity. So I love to help there and share awareness to those things. I think I think that we've really lost something, especially with social media, with this me world, like all about how amazing everybody is and what they want to share filtered on Instagram and whatever else. But we're all part of a big, huge world. And to me, traveling and being aware of what else is going on in other countries and in this world is really a critical piece, because, we don't benefit, we don't make a difference if we're not really all feeling connected and helping others.
Yeah.
So I don't have one particular cause. I think I'm very aware. I used to really have this thing where I don't watch any news. Like I really kind of changed around from that. Like I don't watch the typical news, but I'm very aware of what's going on in the world, because I felt like with the mindset space, we hear a lot of like, don't watch the news, don't know what's going on. But that was starting to feel very selfish to me. Like I'm just going to be in a bubble and pretend like nothing else is happening in the world. And that's just not reality. Like we need to know what's happening in other countries. We need to know about suffering. We need to know about that. And that keeps us grounded. And we need to be here serving and helping others.
So how do you filter your news? I'm interested in that. How do you filter your news?
Well, I don't just turn on the TV and watch news. That's for sure. But I'm very interested in interviewing people and understanding. And then I usually dig deep and research on my own things that happen. So, so it's not about just putting the news on in the background, but it's also not about closing an eye or an ear to things. Right. So it's just being aware. I mean, you can't really avoid it, but I think there's this whole conversation that a lot of people have now. Like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. Like they pretend like it doesn't exist. And it's just not really a way to live. And in fact, and I didn't pick that up on my own. Somebody told me that. I was going through some transformational work and I mentioned to one of the coaches, I said, I don't watch the news. I don't want to know. I don't want it in my space. And he challenged me on that. And he was right. And I really took that on. Like, he's right. Because to pretend like we live in a bubble and nothing else is going, there's no suffering is a mistake.
I love the thing that you said that I love is that you said you dig deep, right? And I think that's missing. And there's two big pieces, is that we're being separated. The unconscious are, the conscious people are separating us into camps. Yeah. Pitting us against each other as if we don't have enough freaking problems and challenges in the world, right? Now I got to hate somebody because they're a Democrat, or I got to hate somebody because they're a Republican. And so when you dig deep, what do you find? I'm trying to figure out the right way to ask this
So,
question.
so I find compassion is the word. So like here I have this slogan, excuses or solutions, you decide. And do I believe that? Yes. Do I believe that? But I also believe that you can have compassion and you have to meet people where they're at. There are some people that literally have no opportunity or choice. So I can tell them excuses or solutions and I can tell them to be accountable, and I got to meet them where they're at. Like if they have no education or no opportunity, that's a very different story than someone that in the US that's complaining that they have a problem avoiding donuts. Like that's a very different story. So, or they're in an unhealthy relationship and they know it, but they're just afraid to leave. Like there's different ranges.
Yeah.
So it's about being compassionate and listening and understanding and meeting people where they're at. Like some people really have no opportunity or choice.
Choice is the key. And people ask me all the time, the stuff that I'm involved in, with the rescues and with feeding people and, in the domestic violence world, is that I participate heavily in the world of people who have gotten their choices taken away from them.
Yes.
Right. And when you have somebody that's here in the US, I mean, there's challenges here in the US. I mean, there's a lot,
no question.
Trafficking going on. There's huge, there's people starving to death in our own country.
Yes.
There's people being trafficked in our own country. There's domestic violence happening every 11 seconds.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so it's not that it's not happening here, but ultimately we have a lot of opportunity here.
Yes.
That if you travel to the rest of the world, one of the biggest blessings that I've ever gotten is travel into India, travel into Africa, and seeing with your own eyes where the rule of law is not present, and it's purely about power, and the resources are not there, and they could care less about their people, right?
Yes. That is for sure. So I think that compassion is missing. I think we are living in a selfish society, very much so. I've been guilty of it too, falling into it. And that's why I think it is important to stay grounded and stay aware as to what's going on in the world.
Right. And hate's never an answer.
No, never. And I've come a long way. I mean, even politically, like what I would believe very black and white to like really shifting a whole different direction just because I do have compassion and I do understand.
So I'm getting you into the here we go into the politics.
Oh boy.
But remember that my perspective, everybody knows this that's watched the show. If you haven't watched the show, understand that my position is center right? But it's center right as in, fiscally conservative, what everybody does in their life. But ultimately I'm not going to hate somebody. In fact, Misfit Nation's made up probably more of progressives and liberals than it is conservatives.
So I'm going to go with, and I'm an open-minded because I am not the type of person to argue with somebody. I love to learn and listen. So yes, do I have some very right opinions about some things? Sure. Do I have some very left opinions about some things? Yes, sure. I'm also very open-minded. You'll never see me arguing politically. I'm always curious. So if I don't believe something, I will ask why. Teach me. Like I want to understand. And I wish there was more of that. I really do. I wish there was more of people wanting to understand, not bash people and understand. I want to understand. Like I have a lot of different opinions about guns. Like it goes both directions.
Yeah.
I could argue either way. And so I honestly don't know. I'm curious. I ask my liberal friends, like, why this? I ask my conservative friends why. I don't know. I don't have an answer. I'm very curious and I love to hear both sides.
So powerful. And I think that based on my traveling, being in business, there's politics, nobody really cares about it, right? We're all trying to get along in this world. And I think that this is a good example of what I have discovered is that the world at large doesn't really care about whether you're right or left.
No,
it's this manufactured bullshit out there that is meant to make us hate each other, right? Because it's for profit. And on the other side of the equation is that we all live together, and this country was built on the idea that it's supposed to be a war of words, not a war of bullets or power. And you and I can fight out and have an argument about something that we're passionate about, and then hug it out at the end and go, you know what?
Yeah.
My position, I'm still in my position, but I see yours. Or I've, accepted a little bit of yours that's strengthened my knowledge.
Yes. The only argument you'll see me having is when there's no human compassion. So that would be it. So I'm not going to argue with somebody either direction unless I really feel that they're just dismissing the human side of things. So I think sometimes people get very strict on their opinion and they're forgetting there's an actual human they're talking about.
Right. I love that. And there's things worth fighting for.
Yes. And that's a whole other topic, by the way. I will speak up on that. I think a lot of people play it safe too much and do not speak up. And that is not leadership. And that is not going to create change in the world. I have a big opinion about that too. If I do feel strong about something and I do feel I can make a difference educating, I will speak up.
I love that. And you should, and really that's where it comes down to. If somebody in a vulnerable position is being taken advantage of,
yes,
that my logo, you see the red ape, right?
Yeah.
The reason why it's a red ape is because I get pissed.
Yeah.
Because if you're taking advantage of kids, if you're taking advantage of women, and women are strong, but there's women that in the domestic violence world, my mom originally, right, was held prisoner. It wasn't a choice. Everybody says it's a choice whether you leave that guy or you don't. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. And it's when it's not that they need people to stand up, like the judges that put him away for attempted murder of me and my mom when I was 17. Those judges and those police that stepped in that role when it wasn't popular back then to stand up for women, they're my heroes, right?
Yep.
They're my heroes. So I love that. You have a really great perspective and outlook on life. And I've kept you here about an hour. So thank you for that. It's flown by. Getting a lot of really, really great comments about you and about the show. So give us some parting shots. I want you, first off, the book that you just put out is Aging in Reverse. Hold that up for everybody.
Aging in Reverse. You can get anywhere books are sold. Amazon, Barnes and Noble. This is out now.
My team pinned it. It's the pinned comment. So they can go there and follow that link all the way through. And then your website?
NatalieJill.com.
Okay. We'll put that in the comments for you as well.
Social media everywhere is Natalie Jill Fit.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. And then just give us a parting shot. What would you like us to take away?
Gosh, just awareness. Like, I hope maybe from this conversation, you've brought some awareness into yourself and maybe you're sharing awareness with others. I just think there's a gap in connection with people and just being aware of different perspectives, of different ways of thinking, of being accountable, just being aware and not being so rigid all the time. Yeah. I love that. I love that. Well, thank you for coming on to the Bald Avenger show. I really appreciate it. It was a fabulous conversation. And I want people to follow you. I want them to go to your fan page and follow the stuff that you're doing. You're doing a really great job out there. And we appreciate you. Thanks for the information. Thank you so much.
Get her books, follow her, do whatever it is that you can do to get more of this woman. So thank you very much. You have an amazing day.
Thank you.
And I'm sure we'll be in touch very, very soon.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.